Hello and welcome to this tutorial. One of the most important things to do when you open up Unreal Engine 4 is to be able to find your way around the environment. The best way to do this is by holding down the right mouse button. If you hold down the right mouse button and move your mouse, you'll notice that your camera will also move around with it. You can then look at any direction that you want to go to, and while you're still holding down the right mouse button, you can press W to go forward, you can press S to go back, you can press A to go left, and you can press D to go right. While you're holding down the right mouse button, you can also press E to go up and Q to go down. You can also try holding the left button as well as the right mouse button at the same time, and then move your mouse up and down. This also helps with navigation around your environment. If you ever want to zoom in to an object, go ahead and select that object. And then you can press F on the keyboard and that will zoom into that object. So now I'm going to hold the right mouse button and look back, select another object, press F on my keyboard and it will zoom into it. Again, I'm going to turn around. I'm going to hold down the right mouse button, press E, go up, for example, press S, go back, and then look at my environment from this bird's eye view. Go ahead and practice that. You'll be doing this quite a lot throughout your learning journey. It's important that you're comfortable with moving around the environment. Give yourself about 5 to 10 minutes to try this out so you get comfortable with it. Now, it's important to understand that Unreal Engine 4 is a 3D application. In 3D applications, it is very important that we can make a certain amount of changes, or should I say, a certain amount of common changes to our objects. In a 3D application, it's very important to be able to move an object, to rotate an object, and to scale an object. I'm going to go ahead and click on this box, and I'm going to zoom into it by pressing F. I'm going to go ahead and maybe zoom out a tiny bit using the same controls I just explained. On the top right hand side of our screen, we have 3 tools here. The first one says select and translate object. That's basically your move tool. The second one says select and rotate object. And the third one says select and scale objects. With every single one of these tools, you will notice that your icon over here, which we will refer to as the Gizmo, constantly changes depending on which setting you have selected. You will primarily see 3 colors. You have red, which represents your x-axis, you have green, which represents your y-axis, and you have blue, which represents your z-axis. You can also see which axes are coordinating with which direction by looking at this icon at the bottom left hand side. You will also notice that they will occasionally turn yellow. Whichever axis or whichever arrow turns yellow, that's the active axis. So if I go on the green arrow so that it turns yellow, if I click and drag now, you will notice that it's moving in that direction. If I go on my X or red axis, it will move forward and backwards. And if I press the blue axis, it will go up and down. Here's a really fun shortcut for you. If your object is above the ground, you can press the End key in order for that object to go down and hit the object underneath it. In this case, the object underneath this box is our floor. So when I move this up, I can press the End button and it will go ahead and sit right on the floor. I can go ahead and also try the rotation tool. Again, I'm going to go on the blue axis and turn it that way, the x-axis, and of course the y-axis. It is quite common to make mistakes when you use Unreal Engine 4, or for that matter, any other 3D application. Don't panic if you make any mistakes. You can always undo your mistakes by pressing Ctrl Z. So let's say I accidentally move this box and I didn't mean to do that. I can hold Ctrl and press Z on the keyboard and that will undo what I've just done. Let's go ahead and talk about the scale tool. If I select the scale tool, you will notice again we have 3 arrows. I can scale it on the x-axis, I can scale it on the y-axis, or I could scale it on the x-axis. I can also go to this white box where all 3 axes will turn yellow, and if I scale there, if I click my mouse and drag there, you will see that I'm scaling the object on all 3 axes at the same time. You can also do this when you're using the move and rotation tool, but I don't really recommend you go on the white dot when you're using the move tool. You could, however, combine 2 axes together. So for example, here I'm going to combine my Z and Y axes by going to the corner of the 2 arrows. So now they have both turned yellow. I can click and drag that around, and now I'm moving the object up and down, left and right, both at the same time. I could also reposition my camera. Oh, there you go. I just made a mistake. Let's press Ctrl Z to go back. I can now go ahead and reposition my camera so that I can see the red axis and the green axis together at the same time. I'm going to go to the square that connects them together, and I can click and drag around. And that will move the object in 2 axes. You will be moving, rotating, and scaling objects quite a lot. So go ahead and give yourself a good 5-10 minutes and try this out. It's important you get comfortable with this. You can also change the location, rotation, or the scale of the objects using the values you have over here. I'm going to go ahead and extend this menu so you can see the numbers. So currently the location of this box is at minus 1043.39, on Y being 73.21, and on Z being 255. Its rotation values are also listed here, as well as the scale values. So let's say I've rotated the object this way and scaled it like that, but now I want it to go back to its original rotation and scale. All I have to do is go ahead and type 0 in these boxes. You should never put 0 for scale unless if you want your object to not show. The default value for scale is 1. My object now has its original rotation and scale. If I wanted to go back down to where it was, I can just go ahead and press the end button and it will sit on the floor. In case if you want it to be quicker and your object had a certain amount of rotation or scale, you will notice that there are these yellow arrows on the side of your values. If you go ahead and click to that, that will reset to the default value. It will do that on all 3 axes, and that's a very quick way to fix or undo anything you've done, or you just give it the default value. Again, I'm going to press N so it sits on the floor. There you go. That's your move, rotation, and scale. In this video, we talked about navigation tools as well as the transformation tools. The rotation, that's the location, rotation, and scale. Again, it's very important that you get confident with this, so go ahead and give yourself a good 5-10 minutes to try these out. There is nothing you could really break here. For the actual project we'll be creating, we'll be using a new world. So go ahead, move things around, press play, click on your screen, use WASD to move around, and shoot these boxes and see what they do. Have fun with it, and I'll see you in the next one.